So, the DVD movie is officially in the works. I mean, obviously, it has been in the works for a long time ago. I think they announced the movie like 3 years ago, maybe two. I can't remember, but yeah, the DVD movie has been in the works for quite a while, but it officially now has names attached to it. It actually has people working on it now. It's not just an idea that Blumhouse bought. And before I get into the topic of this video of how the movie is either gonna be terrible or actually good, I want to discuss who's making it, just so that we have a little bit of context of what's happening here. First of all, Blumhouse is a producer, which sucks. I know it sucks. Blumhouse is hit or miss. Let's be honest, usually miss. But let's be honest, if it wasn't Blumhouse, who else would have picked up the Dead by Daylight movie? A24? Are you kidding me? No. It was either Blumhouse or it was nothing. So I'm kind of glad Blumhouse actually picked it up. Is it good? No. But again, I'd rather have that than nothing. There's also Alexandre Aja? Aja? I should have probably searched how to pronounce that. Anyways, Alexandre has worked in pretty good movies. I think he made the Hills Have Eyes remake. Not obviously not the original. The original is from Wes Craven. Rest in peace. That guy has done some good stuff, but I think it's mostly kind of stinkers. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, motherfucker made Piranha 3D, I think, which is exactly as it sounds. So, yeah, Alexandre is a bit of a red flag too. But the green flag that I do see in this writers' room that a lot of people are not talking about is David Leslie Johnson. David Leslie Johnson has actually made, I mean, obviously he's done his fair share of stinkers too, don't get me wrong, but motherfucker made the Orphan movies, and those fucking slap in my opinion. Obviously they're not for everyone. I have seen a lot of people call them pretty dumb, but let's be honest, horror is stupid as hell. Just let us be stupid. So David Leslie Johnson is actually a pretty good green flag in my opinion when it comes to the creatives in this. And he has worked a lot with a producer in this movie, who is, you'll know him, you'll love him, is James Wan, baby. It's James motherfucking Wan, the motherfucker who created Saw. God damn it, I love Saw. But here's the thing about James Wan. He is the producer, and if you don't know how movies work, I can understand why you would be confused as to why it's not really that big of a deal if James Wan is the producer. The producer doesn't really have a lot of creative control when it comes to a movie. They're usually just the people who finance it, the people who make it happen economically and financially. You know, they're the suits basically, instead of the director and the writer and the production designer and the makeup and all of that. So James Wan is not really gonna be hands-on on this movie. Yeah, it's still good that his name is even in the fucking thing, but it's not really that huge. It's not like he's gonna make it, he's just gonna produce it. So now that we know who are the people making this movie, let's talk about the actual point of this video. It's either gonna be terrible, like absolute dog shit forgotten by the year, or it's actually gonna be pretty decent, I think. Again, I don't know. It just started being made, so it's really early to tell. But from what I can perceive from Dead by Daylight as a whole, let's just leave all the creatives aside. Let's leave Blumhouse and James Wan and David Leslie. Let's get them out of the room. Let's talk about Dead by Daylight as a whole now. So let's start with why I think this movie might not be good. In fact, dog shit. Dead by Daylight is relatively a pretty new game. I know, it's been 9 years and all of that, but Dead by Daylight, when it comes to gaming, it's only been relevant for like, what, 5-6 years? Ever since like the pandemic came in. The pandemic did actually numbers for the game. But when it comes to general audiences and, you know, video games as a whole, Dead by Daylight is not that big. Like, at all. Like, compare it to Silent Hill, Until Dawn, Resident Evil, Mario, Sonic. All of those games have been alive for so long, and not only that, they have been so culturally relevant that a movie being made is yeah, you can understand it. So I don't know how the audience is gonna react to the movie. Straight up, hell, I don't know how the producers and the people making the movie are gonna approach it, because let's be honest, they probably have never even touched the game. Hell, maybe they have never heard of it. So that's bad. That's really bad. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Dead by Daylight has not been relevant. It clearly has. Like, just the Trapper mask is already iconic enough to guarantee it a lot of stuff. But when it comes to movies, when it comes to the big screen, it's not really been that much. Therefore, maybe these people don't care that much about this game and therefore this movie. So if they adapt, for example, if they adapt the lore from a specific killer, it just might not work at all. Because A, they're not gonna care, B, they're not gonna have enough exposure to the killer or whoever the fuck they decide to adapt, and Z, it's fucking Blumhouse. These motherfuckers made FNAF 2, and FNAF has been so relevant that it's poisoned our crops, killed our families, and locked us in a basement. FNAF has been insane. And Blumhouse giving such little fucks about FNAF is a terrible, terrible, terrible red flag for Dead by Daylight. So that's why I think maybe this movie is just not gonna be good at all. Straight up. Sorry. So, with that said, let's go to the other side. Let's go to the multiverse, you know, the reality where this movie is actually good. Here's the thing about game adaptations. Usually, when the game is very, very narratively rich and dense, the movie is most likely going to fuck it up. Why? Well, first of all, video games are not movies. They're not only very much a lot more hours in a game, but also usually the gameplay has a lot to do with the narrative. Like for example, Until Dawn. That is a game that was very culturally relevant. It was huge, and it pretty much changed how narrative games like that, where your choices matter, work. It straight up did that, and therefore, when they made a movie about it, it was awful. It was garbage. Not only they did not know how to adapt the game into a movie, but also they just straight up shat the bed with what even was about. Like I'm pretty sure I'm the only motherfucker in the entire fucking Mexican country that saw this goddamn movie. And I regret it. It was terrible. It was really bad. And that's because Until Dawn, not only is it really good, but it's really, really narratively dense. Hell, let's go even deeper. Silent Hill. Silent Hill's narrative is like its entire backbone. It carries the fuck out of the game. Especially in the older games, not in the remake or some other stuff like that. Because I'm gonna be honest, the older games, the first Silent Hill game, when it comes to gameplay, I fucking hate it. I hate it. I do not like it. But the story is what makes it worth it. And therefore, since it's very narratively rich, when it comes to the movies, they have not made it justice. Never. It's been like, what, 5 Silent Hill movies, and they've all been insanely dog shit. Hell, let's go even deeper. Resident Evil. One of, if not the most influential horror game of all time. With so much story and lore and characters. Yeah, it's understandable that a movie cannot make it justice. So, now that we've discussed that, let's go back to Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight is objectively not a narratively rich game. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't have story or lore. No, it clearly has. It very much has. Hell, it has like an entire like section in the game to learn about it. But sure, it might have the lore, it might have the characters, but it does not have a story. It just doesn't. It's basically got the same syndrome as League of Legends, where League of Legends, sure, it's got so many fucking characters, and these characters have so much lore and so much story. Yes, it's true, but League of Legends doesn't have a story. It just doesn't. It had a story until they realized the story was stupid and they just retconned it straight up. I'm pretty sure the story of League of Legends used to be like the player is a summoner, and they summon the motherfucker into the map and all of that. Dead by Daylight pretty much has the same thing. Like, you're not a summoner, you're the entity, and the entity takes control of the killer, and the survivors have to survive. And once the trial is done, poof, that game that never existed. All of that was technically canon, but it at the same time wasn't canon. So, because of that, because of the fact that Dead by Daylight doesn't really have a story, I think that a movie about it could be really good, because they don't have to rely on, one, the fans being upset that it's not paying homage or paying enough attention to the story when it has none, and two, they can grab any of these motherfuckers and do whatever the fuck they want with them. Because let's be honest, a lot of people, hell, most people who play Dead by Daylight probably don't know anything about the lore. And if they do, they can agree that maybe it's not really as good as, like, for example, the League of Legends lore, which pretty much was so fucking good, they made an entire show about it, and it was a success. Dead by Daylight has that. Dead by Daylight has the potential to make new stories, or grab a story of one of the characters and make it really, really, really good. They have the chance. Hell, you want to know an example of this happening, aside from League of Legends? The Super Mario Bros. Movie. Mario, again, has its characters, has its lore. The RPGs have a lot of story, yeah, sure. But Mario as a whole has no narrative. It doesn't have it. It's Wahoo Man saves princess, the end. Just like how Dead by Daylight is entity picks up fucking killer from Detroit or whatever, puts him in a fucking dungeon, he kills people, that's it, you're done. And therefore, the Mario movie was pretty good. Because one, again, same thing with Dead by Daylight. One, people were already not expecting a lot of story, and if it had it, it was not gonna be the RPG ones, because they're niche compared to the Mario games. And second, the characters and the premise overall, people don't really care about them. And if they do, they have been so starved of narrative that they will take anything, straight up. And so I think Dead by Daylight might have that chance, the same chance Mario and League of Legends had, where since there's so low expectations of the game and its narrative, and there's so much potential and so many characters that you can grab to make a story, I think Dead by Daylight might actually have a chance to make something really good. Hell, maybe even franchise worthy. Just like the Mario movie, and as I said, Arcane and stuff. So, yeah, that's basically the pill that actually the movie will be good. So, in conclusion, the movie, it has a lot of stuff holding it back. I will not deny that. Just the fact that it's Blumhouse is already a pretty big L. So it can, and maybe it will, be pretty terrible, and we will just stop talking about it as soon as it comes out. It can happen, and it might will. But also, Dead by Daylight has the same syndrome as League of Legends, as Mario, as Sonic, as all of those, where the players are so starved for a narrative, and the game is so ambiguous to how it works, that a movie that just does whatever the fuck it wants could be pretty good. Like, as I said, as long as there's enough respect for the source material, which as I said, it's nothing. It's just the entity picking up a motherfucker and putting him in his fucking dungeon. That's it. That's all you need. So Dead by Daylight making a generic movie, just like Mario was, is probably a pretty big W that it might get. Again, we don't know. It might not. Tell me, do you think the Dead by Daylight movie will be good? I think it can be, but I also think it can be pretty bad. Bye, see ya!